Hello and welcome back to the Leinster Listen. I'm your host Michael Annan, and this is episode 22, the review of Leinster vs Edinburgh in round 11 of the URC. The episode content today will be the overall opinion of the game, the analysis of the game events, the URC Table Positioning after this weekend, and a discussion section on the 1948 Omen. Alright, so the score, let's just go straight with my prediction here, and I'm a little bit smug because my prediction was 26-19 to Leinster, and can I just say the actual score was 28-20. So look, I did say it'd be closer than the bookies were giving it. This is arguably the closest I'll ever get, so I'm taking it. I was 2 points off Leinster, and I was 1 point off Edinburgh. That is... Come on, you have to give me a gimme there. That is the closest I'll ever get. So I'm taking it. That is mine. All right, overall opinion of the game. Look, what a display for an academy team, essentially. Look, it was like handing your younger sibling the controller to a game, expecting something cringe, and then they actually play so well. It was brilliant. 3 highlights there, penny for your thoughts, take your time rewind, and the meanie deanie. It was brilliant. Scott Penny, man of the match, well deserved, got a hat trick. Nothing spectacular with the tries that he got. Lots of pick and go, lots of ruck after ruck, inch after inch, but then try after try. So look, it was great. I was very happy with it. It was touch and go going in there. I know, talking to a lot of fans before the game started, we didn't know which way it was going to go, especially after Edinburgh bringing back 3 very good international players from that Scottish camp. But going into some of the factors of that game, the scrums, yeah, look, they were decent for what it was. I think we lost 1 overall, so the actual success rate was 80% because we only had 4. But look, they were good. I think there was about 11 overall. Yeah, look, probably a little bit beaten on them in general by Edinburgh. But look, they had a strong pack there. We came into it in our own a bit later. Second half there with Usnov coming on. Wasn't bad. Wasn't very bad. Look, the lads stepped up, and that's what you want. Like, there's new faces in that front pack every week. The scrum is changing faces, and we are actually competing with it. So I'm not complaining there. You can't really complain there. The lineouts, though, were the key to this game. I know Leo Cullen had done a couple of jersey swaps there, and it was very intentional, and it was very good. The stats show that we only lost 1, but technically I would say it doesn't show that we won 1 as well. But it was only after the maul. So that was the Brian Deeney there in the 15th minute. Like, the maul came down for Edinburgh, was their line out, and Deeney was on it like a rocket. He did not let go of his bind. He held the man there with the ball, played a blinder, and we secured a penalty from that. So look, the lineouts are obviously a focus in the pre-game there, coming in for Leo Cullen and the attack coaches. Look, they were obviously saying that's what we need to focus on, and they did very well. We had a couple of mauls there. We did very confident in that. And actually, after Brian Deeney got that securement in that maul, Edinburgh actually swapped out to have him fast, like straight off the top plays after that. So we obviously scared them enough with the academy boys and a couple of our, our bench players that are normally the bench players. Put in enough work there to say to Edinburgh, you know what, we're going to put it to you. So look, it worked. I'm happy with that. Over to a point now that, yeah, look, a little bit, we're on the back foot a bit for it was the defence. Look, and you know me, I like to put a positive spin on most things. For this one, no, I don't think we can. Look, we left a bit on the field for it. Edinburgh actually had 12 clean breaks and they had 23 defenders beaten. And honestly, URC didn't have a stat for the failed tackles, but 100% we had so many of them. We fell off tackles left, right and centre. We were creating gaps for them. The wings were just not defended at all. You had Van der Merwe there running from the halfway line the whole way down for a try with no one to stop him. Like, there wasn't even a tackle made on him. I know you can probably say that Osborne was probably preoccupied on the other side of the pitch. Same can probably be said for the 2 wingers, but it is something that we need to focus on there. We're letting, if you're letting an Edinburgh team who are 12th on the table do that against you, you're not going to do much against the likes of, Toulouse there. Like, they have such rapid players, and we need to be able to focus on that, and we need to improve that. You can't go into these games having 12 clean breaks in a game. That could be 12 tries. Like, realistically, I wouldn't say we were as bad as we were in La Rochelle. And look, and even at that, I actually said that we did fairly decent. But for the team that's in it, you have to give it to them. You know, there's a lot of academy players there, a lot of young lads on it. And look, even Snyman was falling off tackles. Max Deegan was missing tackles. Look, you can't blame the whole thing. And as I said, the cohesion there is probably a little bit changed in terms of who's playing with who. They're not playing with each other week on week. So, yeah, look, defence was not great, something to work on, but definitely we won. So you can't really complain too much. The attack there, yeah, I mean, look, it was grand. It was grand. We 62 possession, mind you, and we'd 402 metres med. Now, you would expect me to say, geez, there must have been some amount of clean breaks there. No. We actually only had 2 clean breaks. I actually thought the URC got this wrong, and they were just being harsh on some of the clean breaks that we did get. So I went back and watched the whole thing again, and we did only get 2 clean breaks. Look, it was definitely a forwards game. We definitely played into our forward pack there, and as I said in the intro, all of the tries came from pick and go plays. The forward smashing through from phase after phase, and look, I won't complain. That's grand. We won. We got the 4 tries, got the bonus point. But I will say that is the fastest way to tire your team out, is having the forwards do all the work and the backs standing back there saying, oh yeah, well, we'll do a couple of fancy passes whenever you give it to me. That will not work against the Frenchies. So once again, we need to improve that. But no complaints. I will say that we still won. A dirty win is still a win. Some notable players there. Yeah, look, before I even say the creme de la creme of the team, can I just say there was 10 players there that had less than 10 caps apiece, and they all played their part, and they all deserve a reputable mention here. That is Joshua Kenny, Kieran Mangan, Ruben Maloney, Jerry Caher, Andrew Sparrow, Alex Ustinov, Niall Smith, Conor Tierney, Josh Erickson, and last but not least, Hugo McLaughlin. Fair play to them. Like, that was some level of effort to come up there and show what you're worth, given that how many injuries we have, how many players we have gone to the international team. That is what we want. That is pride. That is stepping up to the mark, and that is winning. That is what you do. You seal a win. We're 11 for 11, and that's just, I love that. I love that. Oh, sorry, actually, Raiko Wani is less than 10 as well. I don't think you can put him in the same pot. No, but look, fantastic. I love that we're able to, depend on these men to step up when they needed to, and they did. But look, going into the actual notable mentions there, yeah, look, Scott Penny, a hat-trick. Do you need to say any more than that? Look, he carried well, he did his job, he got rewarded for it. Yeah, okay, maybe he fell off a few tackles. He did carry well, though, in fairness, so I'll give him that. Brian Deeney, look, he was my man of the match. He was excellent. He was excellent in the line-out. He got the charge down just into the second half that secured essentially the third try there, and he just played a blinder. So he is my man of the match there. Sorry, Penny. But yeah, look, he played great. Charlie Tector a 10. Tector time 10. 100% on conversions, mind you. Can I just say, right? Yeah. Okay, he missed one penalty. It was probably a sinker, but we won't talk about that. He had great kicks to the touch there as well. My God, he was getting the depth and all of them. I was a little bit afraid, when these lads come up and they're gunning for this 10 position, they haven't given it. They step into this fly half boots there, and then they start trying to get the real far deep balls there, and sometimes that can go against you. I remember there was what was your man's name, Billy. I can't remember his name. The Ulster player anyway, when he went to the Irish gig and he got his first 10 play, and he ended up butchering the kicks and wasn't kicking out the touch with the penalties, and that was the end of him. He never got brought up again. Look, Charlie Tector, he carried like a centre. He was denied one of the best tries of the game as well from before a pass. So look, yeah, played blinder, fair play to him, stepped up, did the job. I can't go this episode without mentioning someone from the Edinburgh team, and that has to be Freddie Douglas. Look, there was a reason they brought him back from the Scottish training camp, and I did call it during the preview. He is scary good. Every time there was a ruck not defended immediately, he was on it. And he got that many turnovers in that game. It's actually what kept Edinburgh back, like kept them in that game completely. It's exactly what they brought him back for. Like, I did say that he was statistically twice as likely to steal a ball than any of the Leinster players on the pitch, and he definitely proved it there yesterday. Like, what a player. What a player. Like, he's going to be absolutely integral into that Scottish camp coming into the Six Nations. Fair play to him. He's a dream to watch. He's just so good at what he does. Going into the referee there, Andrea Piardi, yeah, did well. Did well. Like there was one rugby incident there where Ben Vellacott's nose was pretty much exploded. that is not even. I'm not even joking, lads. Go back and watch it. It was the worst. Oh Jesus! It was the worst hit I've seen in a long time. But it was definitely a rugby incident, and Piardi actually handled that so professionally. He brought the two captains over. He watched it. He didn't take ages to find out what went wrong. You know, the initial hit was actually trying to clean out that hook from the other side, and then the head just popped up after, and it just collided with his nose. And yeah, it was a rugby incident. So look, he called it very well and handed to him there. He did have like one or two marginal calls, but they were kind of 50-50 both sides, so you can't really take him from that. It was given in a line that whole game for a team of Academy Plus players against some Scottish internationals. We did fucking well, lads. A pat in the back for all of us. A bula bus, 11 win streak. Happy days. Alright, so the match events then. 7th minute there, missed penalty from Edinburgh straight off the bat. Ross Thompson, yeah, rough start. It was in front of the posts. Bad miss. 10th minute then, just to add to the woes, they got a yellow card for Edinburgh there as well. Callum Hunter-Hill, very high tackle. There was two lads coming in. He didn't even pivot at all, so straight away, out for 10 there. That didn't actually get increased to a red, so lucky enough, he was back on after 10 minutes in the 20th minute. 13th minute then, we saw the first try for Leinster. Max Deegan, phase play there, pick and go forever. Max Deegan was so powerful. Oh my god, he got the ball last and drove through and actually lifted Satala there 14 up over the tackle and sent him flying back, and he landed over the line there. Fantastic try. That was converted successfully to Charlie Tector, brought the score to 7-0. 18th minute then, we had the most magnificent try denied, and it was Tector time. Yeah, unfortunately for Charlie Tector, he could have got a fantastic time for number 10 there with conversions and a try for himself. He actually beat 4 defenders and offhanded the last there to crash over, but unfortunately was called back for a previous forward pass by the TMO, and it was correct. It was definitely correct. So anyway, score retained, 7-0. 20th minute then, try for Edinburgh. Yeah, this was the pain point. Duhan van der Merwe, they brought him back for a reason. The ball was passed to him at about the halfway mark, and he just pumped the legs and off he went. He is so fast. He ran the whole way uncontested. Maloney was just on the wrong side of the pitch, tried to make it over, could not tackle him. Thankfully for us though, that conversion was missed, so it brought the score to 7-5, just still in the lead. 23rd minute then, penalty for Edinburgh. Ross Thompson steps up, sinks it. You know, he missed the previous conversion, but he gets that one, so that brought the score to 7-8. 39th minute then, a try for Edinburgh, so adding to our woes just before half time. Maleli Satala for this one. Look, a couple of deep passes there, cause off guard. They did, feigned going to the next player, but actually sent it back about 5 meters with a pass, and it just made Osborne kind of shoot up a bit too deep, a bit too early, left a huge gap there on the right hand side, and Satala got the ball, and Deegan tried his best to go and take him out, but completely missed that tackle, and there was no one left then to stop Satala, so he ran the whole way then from, I'm fairly short of 22 in. That was successfully converted then by Ross Thompson as well, brought the score to 7-15, which was the halftime score. Leinster 7, Edinburgh 15. 44th minute then, straight off the mark for us, Scott Penny scored his first try there, and that was actually from a Deeney charge down, and it was amazing. Perfect charge down. He actually didn't know where the ball went, but when he saw it bounce, he was on it like a rocket, gathered it himself, burst through the 2 defenders and lands 3 meters out. And in fairness to the rest of the players there, they were so fast up the mark to get that ruck defended. A couple of phases then, and Penny was over the line. Perfect. That was converted successfully then by Charlie Tector, brought the score to 14-15. 51st minute then, we got a penalty, unfortunately missed there by Charlie Tector. Could have brought us ahead, but probably not his finest moment. It was probably a sinker for anyone else. So look, unfortunately there for Charlie Tector. But look, regardless, happy out there. 68th minute, try for Leinster. Scott Penny, yep, so that was his second. Just before this, the men actually moved the passes kind of from the 3 meter line, nearly on the line. They moved it towards an injured player just underneath the post. So look, the game had to be paused there, obviously, because it's a bit too dangerous for the physios and the player on the ground. It was restarted from a scrum, which in fairness, some people will say under the post, it's not the bad position to be in. Again, straight into some phase play. Once again to Penny, over for a second. Happy out. That was converted successfully then by Charlie Tector. Brought the score to 21-15. 74th minute then, not too long later, another try for Scott Penny. Look, you're probably going to be a bit bored about me saying it over and over, but it was just phase play. It was just ruck after ruck. Pick and go, pick and go, pick and go. Look, it makes inches. It doesn't matter after that. You'll get over the line eventually. But anyway, that secured Scott Penny's hat-trick score there. Fantastic for him. And that was also converted successfully. That was converted successfully by Charlie Tector. Maybe it was successfully. That brought the score to 28-15. That really should have been the end of the game, 74th minute, if we just defended that a little bit more. But again, this is where we're talking about the defence just lacking a little bit. 81st minute there, a try for Edinburgh in the red. Phase play there. We were about to get a yellow card for just being offside 2 or 3 times. Charlie Shield gets the ball, picks and goes, beats 4 defenders, does a little sidestep, and then crashes over the line. That was, it was a great try by him, but our defence was lacking there a little bit. But can I just say, and look, I'm going to have to apologise for the Edinburgh number 10 here, but this probably was the worst conversion I've ever seen. So sorry to the young lad if he's listening to this, but he actually looked like he was trying to hit top right corner in a soccer game rather than going over the bar. And because of that, they actually missed out on a well-deserved losing bonus point. It was chronic. Oh my God, I'm so sorry for him. That brought it to score to 28-20 with the full-time score. Leinster 28, Edinburgh 20. Scott Penny there was man of the match. If a man scores a hat-trick, he deserves man of the match. Doesn't matter what else happens. But his work rate was good as well. And look, maybe he fell off a few tackles, but nevertheless, he got that little shiny medal. All right, so where does that leave us on the URC table position? We are second. We are second. What a run up that table we have done. We were written off about 5 rounds ago by all the, bunny quotes, sports journalists there. And look at us now. We're trailing Glasgow Warriors by 4 points. And we actually played them in 2 rounds' time in the 13th round in the URC. So look, we are gunning for that top spot. I will say this though, the only caveat from what matter staying there is the Stormers and Ulster are in 3rd and 4th respectively. And they're trailing us by 4 points, but they actually have a game in hand because one of them was actually cancelled, if you remember. So take the position with a pinch of salt, but you have to admit, 2nd position now, whereas about 6 rounds ago we were in 7th, looking like we're going to hit that 8th position there. That is amazing. 11th win in a row now, lads. I know that's including ICC and URC combined, but that is just brilliant. We can't deny the grit that we have for all these games. We are the most hated team because even when we're playing bad, we're playing good. The next game there is a good bit of time away now. It's Leinster versus Cardiff away, February 27th, and that is in the Cardiff Arms Park. So a break from our Leinster coverage. Alas, do not fear. You'll still be able to hear my lovely monologues when I discuss the Six Nation games, with a focus on the Leinster players there. So be prepared for that. I'll do a preview and review of all those games. Don't you worry. Alright, so discussion point here. I've called it the 1948 Omen, and if you are up to date with, and I've been keeping up with the Six Nations since 1948, you might notice a little thing that's happening this week, but also happened back in 1948. So I'm going to bring it back in time here a little bit to Paris on New Year's Day in 1948, January 1st, falling on a Thursday. We actually won Ireland 13, France 6. Now, the scoreline might seem a bit weird there, but if you didn't know, tries were actually 3 points at one point. So that's why France scored 2 tries, which was the 6 there. Carl Mullen there from Old Belvo, he led the charge as captain back then. It was played in Stade Yves du Manoir, which is in Cologne. And if you didn't get it, the Thursday start there led directly to our first ever Grand Slam. So first win in Paris, I think in over 20 years for Ireland. Team travelled over by by ferry and steam train. Obviously, wasn't a 2026 private charter plane there for the lads. And it actually, that time, rugby was a bit strange because there was no substitutions allowed. And actually, there was an argument there recently that we should go back to this, that whatever you start with, you finish with. So you went over to 15. If you had an injured player, you either went down to 14 or you played on. So, yeah, a bit strange there. It was actually 35,000 fans of that. Look, obviously, in Stade de France, there'll be an awful lot more of that. The weather was shocking. There was heavy mud. The pitch was in shite. But yeah, look, midweek rugby. When do you ever see that? Yeah, but of course, look, let's go back to that just to kind of give the vibe here. So, again, a lad from Old Belvedere was captain aside against France away on a Thursday, and they won a Grand Slam. Now, let's go back to the future here. 2026, Caelan Doris. He's an ex-Belvedere college player, right? He's captain on the Irish side. We're 70 years later. Carl Mullen, Caelan Doris, Belvedere. Thursday, in France. So look, lads, you do the maths. I know it's a bit conspiracy. I have my tinfoil hat on here. You can't see me, but I'm wearing it. But look, I think this is on the cards, lads. I think we have a Grand Slam coming. The bookies don't see it. We know now from last time there in the preview, the bookies are getting it wrong, left, right, and centre. I'm the man who's able to predict all these scores. I'm putting the house on it. I'm putting the house on an Irish Grand Slam. Haven't told the wife yet, but imagine the fun we'll have when it comes in, and we have 2 houses. Wouldn't that be great? But look, it's a funny one. It's the first time since 1948 that the Six Nations, actually it was called the Five Nations back then, was played on a Thursday. So it's a very strange thing. It is a very strange thing. And, history is bound to repeat itself. So here we are. If we end up winning a Grand Slam, lads, you come back here now, because I was the one who called it, and you'll all think I'm mad now, and we'll beat France now, and everyone will come back to this podcast going, Jesus, hold on now. Mick is after getting the prediction in, and he's going to win 2 houses out of it, so never mind your oosh draws. I have it here. Alright folks, the Wolfhounds have secured a semi-final place in the Celtic Challenge after trouncing Galway Lightning in the Virgin Media Park there. They won 44-10 today, and I have to apologise because I did miss a review episode last week, but I was feeling under the weather and no one wants to listen to a sick voice from me. So look, I do promise that this review episode of that match against Galway Lightning will air this Tuesday, and we'll go through all the match events and what is to come in that Celtic Challenge. If you haven't followed us already, please do. We're on Reddit, Instagram, we're on YouTube. Give us a couple of comments. I'll always try to give an old shout out if I can. We do actually have a couple of comments here that we got from Instagram where I was asking people to give their remarks on the game that just gone by. So we had one there from KMM3515 in saying, good to get the win, skills again, no sign of improvement, lack of line breaks, a season pro. Yeah, look, that's true. I think we went through that. We had 2 line breaks. It's not what we need. We need a lot more than that. We need to be showing some finesse in those back lines. So it is something definitely we need to be focusing on. With one then from extremely jubilant Pats fan, I love the name. Our kids versus their international team. Yeah, that is it. That was it in a T, wasn't it? You love to see it, and we played so well. So in fairness, it was brilliant. One there from Rugby Breakfast Clubs. He says, "I'll take the win, and at least we didn't monster it up." You have to love the dig. But yeah, look, folks, thanks so much for getting in touch. I do love that. I love those comments, and we'll always give it a little bit of a shout out there as well. So yeah, look, again, folks, thanks for listening. Get ready for those Six Nations preview and review episodes, and we'll see you then.